Hey guys, new camera, new audio, new setup. Today is a good day. So, let's get right into it. Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Now it looks different, sounds different, good. Because new setup, new me, we're healed. No. But today, as we approach kind of halfway through this journey, because I want to kind of end this around episode 100. Maybe we'll go on longer, but I'll be in college by then. And so I just thought 100 days, 100 devotionals, see how it goes. Maybe it goes well, maybe it doesn't. But either way, from me to you, to glorify God. So I got another kind of, what do you call it? Book entry today, journal entry to read to you. But let's just dive into the word and how it relates first, of course. Where in Hebrews chapter 13, let's see if you know the verse. Let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have. For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's verse 5. And to be content with such things as you have. How important is that? So, in saying that, you must die. That's the entry, the title, and let's see how the thumbnail relates. I'll read you the entry, and I'll have it here. So let's go. A candle does not need to fight the darkness. It merely exists. From that candle burns a vehement light that slowly fades. Eventually, it will die. The wax will run out, and it will ignite no more. The candle had to die. You cannot turn off or on a candle. Would you appreciate it more that way? Or do you express gratitude to each light switch that grants you the same? You must die. So live. The candle could not burn any brighter or any longer. How much more is the capacity within yourself? And that's what we talk about today. The fact that we must die so that we may live and that he may live, right? God died so that we may live, and it's the same. And how important is that? The candle, it cannot be turned on or off forever. I guess the same thing could be said with the light switch. Electricity may run out. Like nothing's really forever except God. But you can sure as hell turn a light switch off and on more than you can a light lit by a wax, It runs out. It is very temporal, very fragile, beautiful in that way, where you light a candle and you keep it so it doesn't, whisk out. It doesn't accidentally go out by, a light breeze or your breath or the ambient wind, whatever it might be. You're careful with that flame, and it burns just as bright if you do so. And I think we've ought to really follow the candle's example, where again, we eventually will die, and we must. And in doing so, will we appreciate ourselves more if we live forever, or should we appreciate ourselves more because we don't? And in living, because we don't do it forever, we can appreciate it all the more. And back in the 14th, 13th century, church authorities thought the exact opposite, right? We should be a candle that is just deignited, just whisked away, to be no more, to ignite no longer, because the world is a temporal place. It is just of sin and of catastrophe. And that's no way to think, because now we know that earth is not at the center of all destruction, but rather it's at the center of all beauty, where the kingdom of heaven is amongst us, it's amidst us. And as we walk, and in our walk with God, with ourselves, with others, with peers, with relationships, we ought to realize that we are burning just as bright as these candles, and we burn a lot longer. So God really put on my heart to just ignite yourself. Go, and God will lead. God is the one who holds that flame, right? He is the light. And we're not fighting the darkness. He's overcome. And we've talked about fighting it before, in a way that kind of builds up to this message here, where the candle, once lit, it doesn't need to fight the darkness. It doesn't combat darkness. It is merely a light that was not there before. Can you be that light that was not there before? In a world cast with a lot of shadows, how many lights do we need as Christians? How many of us can we shine? Can we shed light on others? And therefore igniting others? And eventually the flame, we've talked about the flame of hope before, to be fully ignited and centered, anchored on Christ, the firm foundation, and pointed for glorifying Him, right? That's our chief concern. I think there's a lot of importance in that. So, I just thought it was kind of a beautiful way to put that all in, that we must die to appreciate what we do as we live. And we can live all the more. It's all these things that we talk about, they sound binary, but they're not. It's more of a spectrum, but we'll just, for logic's sake, it's binary of one opposite and another opposite coexisting in harmony. We've talked about finding that intersection, where in between it all is usually the solution, and God obviously provides to each of us solutions. I mean, I have a whole book full of His solutions and God's promises. But besides that, where are we living? How are we living? Why are we living? These questions that we ask, I think that's fighting the darkness. But rather, let us live in peace amidst it, in that we are lighting the path ahead. And as God, using Him, we can be just as, just as bright, I'd say, to guide people, to save people into heaven, into eternal glory. It's captivating, and sometimes done wrong, most times done right, but either way, shine bright. Oh man, I just came up that right. What am I doing? Anyways, so that's kind of it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and this will be the setup we go on further. It's weird because the camera's like so wide. I'm like, whoa. Now we get the whole piano, we get the whole kind of background here, and just really happy. So yeah, hopefully you guys can find your kind of spark, ignite, and burn bright, and then eventually you can use that flame, ignite others, and eventually this flame that becomes hope, becomes love, becomes joy, peace, it can all point, the flame is vertical. Where's it pointing? It's pointing toward God and His beauty and his monarchy. So, here's tomorrow.